son was 7 years old the night he saw me become someone he should have never had to fear. People think the worst part of prison is the bars, the isolation, the years disappearing from your life. But they're wrong. The worst part is knowing your child saw the exact moment you failed as a father. And no matter how much time passes, you can't take that memory out of their head. That night started like hundreds of others. I came home exhausted from work, frustrated about money, angry at things that had nothing to do with my family. But instead of dealing with that anger like a man, I carried it into the house with me. Dinner was cold. Bills were stacked on the kitchen counter. My wife asked me a simple question about rent, and I answered with irritation instead of honesty. Small tension became an argument. The argument became shouting, and once shouting starts, pride takes over fast. You stop listening, you stop thinking, you just react. I remember my son standing near the hallway, holding a blanket, watching us. At the time, I barely noticed him. That's the part that destroys me now. A child was standing there scared, and I was too angry to see it. My wife told me to calm down. I slammed my fist against the wall hard enough to shake the picture frames. My son flinched. That image still lives in my mind. The way his shoulders jumped, the fear on his face, the confusion in his eyes. Children aren't supposed to look at their father that way, but instead of stopping, I got louder. My wife grabbed her keys and said she was leaving for the night with our son. And in that moment, something ugly inside me snapped. I blocked the doorway, not because I wanted to hurt anyone, but because I needed control. That's what anger really is most of the time. Control mixed with ego. She tried to move past me. I grabbed her arm. Too hard. She stumbled backward and hit the edge of the counter before falling to the floor. The silence after that was unbearable. My son screamed. Not loud at first, just one terrified sound that I still hear in my sleep. I remember turning toward him and realizing he was crying so hard he could barely breathe. He looked at me like I was a stranger, like I was dangerous. And in that second, before the police arrived, before the ambulance lights filled the house, before the handcuffs closed around my wrists, I understood something. I had just destroyed the safest place my child had ever known. People think prison changes you overnight. It doesn't. At first, prison just hardens you. You blame everyone except yourself. I blamed stress, I blamed work, I blamed my marriage problems, I blamed alcohol. Anything to avoid admitting the truth, that my family wasn't destroyed by pressure. It was destroyed by me. The first weeks inside felt unreal. Metal doors, concrete walls, counts at dawn, men yelling through cells at night. But even surrounded by all that noise, the loudest thing in my head was my son crying. I couldn't escape it. Every night when the lights went out, I replayed the moment over and over. The argument, the shouting, his face in the hallway. And the worst part wasn't even the arrest. It was realizing my son would probably remember that night longer than he'd remember any good memory I gave him. My wife survived, but she left me. I don't blame her. Some damage changes a relationship permanently. She filed for divorce while I was awaiting sentencing. I remember sitting in county jail, reading the paperwork over and over, staring at my own name like it belonged to someone else. I wasn't just losing a marriage, I was losing my identity, the version of myself I thought I was. Provider, protector, father, collapsed completely. The hardest day came months later during visitation. My mother brought my son to see me. He walked into the room holding her hand tightly, avoiding eye contact. I smiled automatically because that's what fathers do when they see their kids. But he didn't smile back. He sat across from me quietly while I tried to make conversation. Asked him about school. Asked about his favorite games. Short answers. barely looking up. Then, before the visit ended, he asked me something I'll never forget. "Are you still angry?" Not, "How are you?" Not, "When are you coming home?" Just that. "Are you still angry?" That question crushed me more than the sentence ever did, because children remember emotion before they understand details. And what my son remembered most about me was fear. I spent years thinking about what masculinity really means. Growing up, I believed being a man meant never backing down, never appearing weak, always having control. But prison teaches you things pride never will. Real strength isn't dominance. It isn't intimidation. It isn't making people afraid of you. Real strength is emotional control. It's knowing when to walk away from an argument. It's lowering your voice instead of raising your fists. And I didn't understand that until after I lost everything. The truth is, children don't need perfect fathers. They need safe fathers, consistent fathers, fathers who make home feel calm instead of unpredictable. And I failed at that in the worst possible way. I took the person my son trusted most and turned him into someone he feared. That realization changes a man permanently. Time moves strangely in prison. The outside world keeps evolving while your life stays frozen. My son grew taller during visits. His voice changed. His interests changed. And every time I saw him, I realized I was missing pieces of his life I could never get back. First basketball game, school events, birthdays, conversations before bed. Those aren't dramatic losses to most people until they're gone forever. People online sometimes comment that men like me deserve no sympathy. Maybe they're right. I'm not telling this story to excuse myself. I'm telling it because anger destroys faster than people realize. It doesn't always start with violence. Sometimes it starts with ego, exhaustion, pride, the inability to calm down when emotions rise. And by the time you recognize what you've become, the damage is already done. If you're watching this and you're a father, listen carefully. Your children are always watching. They learn love from you. They learn safety from you. They learn emotional control from you. And one moment of rage can become a memory they carry for the rest of their lives. My son saw everything that night. And even after all these years, I know he'll never fully forget it.